So very important for a woman every day, be it in their workplaces, their homes, their communities. That's what we are trying. So our hope today is to empower one another, mothers especially, with accurate information, and encourage families to be support systems for breastfeeding mothers. So today we have a powerful panel. Yes, we always try as much as we can to bring you persons that will give you accurate information, midwives, mental health experts today on the program. We're going to introduce them, and thereafter we'll begin straight away with a conversation. We have Ma Franca here with us. Ma Franca is a midwife at Mount Mary Hospital. Greetings, Mama, and welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good evening.
It's a pleasure to have you. We also have here a mental health expert, Juliet Venue. Juliet Venue always avails herself to educate women, try as much as she can to educate women with the knowledge she has. Good evening, Juliet, and thanks for joining us. And not to leave out, we also have another midwife. Okay, she's my namesake. That's why I'm introducing her at the end of the panel. We have Nganko Marie Madeleine. She's also a midwife at Mount Mary Hospital. Hello, Madeleine. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you very much.
Dear viewers, we urge you to stay with us as we delve straight into our conversation today. The first thing we want to talk about is breastfeeding myths. Yes, we know that there is a lot that surrounds breastfeeding, but then many mothers receive advice from family members and even neighbors sometimes. What are some of the most common breastfeeding myths we encounter, or you encounter, and what does science actually say? Ma Franca.
The first and the famous myth is the conception that people have that when you breastfeed, your breasts are going to shrink. But science says whether you breastfeed or not, as you are aging, your breasts are supposed to fall. Okay. So that's the first most commonest myth. And they also have this conception that they don't believe that when they are only if it is only breast milk, it is adequately going to feed the child. Okay. But science has proven that those children that are being breastfed exclusively for 6 months without other feeds being introduced, they grew very strong and healthy. And those that have been breastfed for long, they have a very high intelligence quotient, because the WHO recommends 2 years of breastfeeding. Then another myth is this conception of the girl child. They want to remain young in life and their breasts are up just like that, so they advocate for artificial feeding, that they don't want their breast milk to fall at all. But science still disproves the fact that with aging, as you are aging, your systems are collapsing. So I think that's the most commonest myths that we have. Marie on the other side will add some of.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma Franca. I will come back to you with the issue of 6 months exclusive breastfeeding. But then, Marie, what are some of the other myths that when women come for antenatal, postnatal, you always tell them, do this, don't do this, this is not correct, this is correct?
All right, thank you. One of the most common myths circulating around there is the issue of consuming things like Buford Light, palm wine, or probably Guinness. Yes, they believe that these drinks will boost the milk production, but there's no scientific evidence to prove that. Although some people feel because after drinking maybe they feel their breasts fill up, or they feel more hydrated, they feel like, okay, maybe that's it working, but that's not it. Science has shown us that the most natural and effective means to increase breast milk production is frequent breastfeeding. Okay. Yes. Just to throw more light on what Ma Franca said concerning the sagging breast. Sagging breast does not depend only on you breastfeeding your breast. It has genetic factors, weight fluctuations. Okay. Yes. Then we also have pregnancy. Pregnancy causes breast changes on its own. Yes, that's some. And then there's another myth which says that while breastfeeding, if you have sexual intercourse with your partner, you spoil the baby's breast milk. Yes, that is that is hilarious to think about it first. And then there's no scientific evidence, there's no scientific relation with that, because having sex during when you're breastfeeding, a woman can have a safe sex life with her partner during breastfeeding, and it has nothing to do with the baby, especially if she is, yes, it does not change the quality of breast milk. Yes, the breast milk will remain safe and good quality for the baby, as long as she's doing everything correctly. She's feeding the baby efficiently and everything correctly. Yes.
Okay, so I think I'm also very surprised with the myth of before light and palm wine, because traditionally, I don't know if you go to every home that has a new mom, before light does not go neat. Before light and palm wine, and they say don't touch na mami pikini on. So I hope our mothers out there, expectant moms, are listening to these things, because sometimes you are doing more harm to our children than good. So please, let's be guided by that. I'll come back to you people. There is something about baby crying, but then I'm going to ask my friend another question. Let's talk to Juliet. Juliet, many new mothers doubt themselves. So why is self-confidence important in a successful breastfeeding journey?
Talk about self-confidence, it goes around, and it is one of the strongest predictors of a successful breastfeeding journey.
Okay.
Where with pregnancy and postpartum period, especially breastfeeding, a lot of changes happen.
Okay.
Some of which will be physical, emotional, and the challenges that comes with breastfeeding. We know that during especially the first few weeks of breastfeeding, it can be very painful. And mothers sometimes find it difficult to go through these challenges, and it takes a lot of self-confidence to be able to continue breastfeeding or to be able to initiate the baby to breast milk as early as possible.
Okay.
Self-confidence goes with self-awareness. Most mothers will not feel comfortable with their own physical appearance, and therefore putting the child to breast milk is a big problem for some people, especially in settings where they cannot get the privacy they need to be able to breastfeed their baby. So it will be challenging for them. Also, other challenges like hormonal changes that comes with childbirth. It also puts the woman to points where she's doubting, and doubt can bring a lot of interference to breastfeeding. A woman begins to doubt, can I breastfeed my child? Am I producing enough milk? Am I doing it right? Am I this and that? And it takes a lot of confidence to be able to continue. And another one thing that is very important is that mothers want to compare. Especially first-time moms or young mothers. They want to compare, this other person is doing this thing, so I must do this the same thing. And we need to understand that milk production is not the same for everybody. That this other mother is lashing their child just for 15 minutes doesn't necessarily mean you do the same for your own baby. And it takes self-confidence and a lot of self-education.
Okay.
Yes, understanding all of these differences and then building yourself through accurate education. It helps a lot in breastfeeding.
Okay, thank you so much. Accurate education is important during breastfeeding. So mothers should not just limit themselves to what people say. Try as much as you can to also do personal research about how being a mom, especially first-time moms, because 1001 persons will tell you what to do, and you cannot listen to everybody. The way say medical practitioners are the best. Even people who are experienced cannot give you the advice that medical practitioners are giving you, because people differ. Your system and mine is not the same. There is also something about confidence when a woman says, I had a friend who could never breastfeed her child in public. She says that's the most uncomfortable thing she can ever do as a mom. And the child cries and cries. She says, until I get home. Is this a problem? Is this a problem to the child, or maybe to the mother, or to the population?
Of course, it is a problem. It is a problem to the child and to the mother, because the moment you begin to accumulate breast milk without giving it to the baby, it can cause breast pain and maybe breast engorgement.
Okay.
And if care is not taken, you can easily get to infections. So building self-confidence and being able to overcome and putting your child as priority. Now I want to go back to highlight that breastfeeding also comes with identity shifts. you have to get to that role that you have to be the primary caregiver of that child, and if you have not accepted that role, that's when that issue wants to come in.
Okay.
Because if you're fully accepted the role as the mother and you're supposed to take care of that baby and breastfeed her, you will be able to overcome the issue of social differences where you don't want to breastfeed your child out of or in public. It's a problem. And with self-confidence, when you've built your self-confidence, you're able to do it joyfully and effectively, not necessarily looking at what's happening in the surrounding.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you so much, Juliet. And back to you, Ma Franca. Some people believe that a crying baby means breast milk is not enough. So how can a mother tell that their child nutrition is accurate? Like maybe because some parents say once a child starts crying, you hear mothers, that child has to eat, that child is hungry. So how can you measure that your child's nutrition is okay?
Let me start with the crying issue.
Okay.
Yes, it is true that at times when they cry it's because they are hungry. But you have signs that when a baby is hungry, you see he's turning the mouth around. They call it mouthing like this. And then secondly, she may be crying, the child may be crying because the diaper is wet, it's not comfortable, or it is sick. You need to check your baby. You just touch the skin if it is warm. He may be crying and there's abdominal gripe, they call them gripe. It's not comfortable, especially when he's breastfeeding. Stop breastfeeding and then cries. You have to check that child because it may be a signal that the child is not well. Maybe he has abdominal discomfort, or maybe the diaper is wet. The diaper has been there for long. You have not changed it, or you check whether there are tight clothing around that baby, because at times they put tiny socks. When it is like that, it can constrict the blood vessels and you see swelling around. So you have to check. If the baby is crying persistently, you have to check. And you are giving, especially when you are giving the breast and the baby had already indicated that she was hungry, and then he stops and cry, he's telling you, it's another signal that there's something wrong with that baby. And then to assess whether your baby is adequately or it is the growth. First is the growth. You assess the growth and the health of that baby. Because we had a scenario that the baby, the mother went home, the child was crying persistently, because some babies, when they give birth like that, they don't just latch easily on breasts. You have to teach the mothers the techniques, or at times we just take a bit of sip of like glucose to make so that he start with that one, so that he should be able now to put the baby on breast, and then he grips. That one happened even today. When I entered the ward today, the mother complained that this child is crying. I had to observe. So I had to observe the baby. The baby was mouthing. I say, yes, the baby is hungry, and since the food is not there, that's why it's continuously crying. So we must try as possible to see that this baby on breast. And I say remove the cap, because at times when the cap is there, the first thing you have to remove the cap when you're breastfeeding. Because it's an exercise that generates heat. You have to remove their caps when they are, and you don't overpack clothing
on them.
Yes, because at times they find it difficult to hold the baby and bring the baby to the breast, because they have packed a lot of clothing. For you to adequately know that your baby is breastfeeding, you must change at least 6 to 8 diapers a day. You must feed that baby on demand, and then you must the baby sucks and then sleeps off the breast. You don't pull out the breast, because when it's not satisfied and you are trying to pull out, he will grip the nipples. When he's satisfied, you see it just slip off the breast. Yes, those are signs to see that. And you see the growth, see as the baby is growing strong and healthy.
Thank you so much, Ma Franca. Feed the baby on demand, not at your convenience, because you have most parents have been feeding the child since morning, but the child keeps eating. So please feed the baby on demand, and be careful what you wear on that child. as a mom, you want to be very careful with your baby's clothing. I want to also look at parents who, or mothers who feel like they are not doing enough for their children. When they come maybe when they come to you people, what is it, how do you encourage them to know that they are doing enough? Because you hear some parents who come and some mothers come and say, I'm trying for this baby, but the baby feels like I'm not doing enough. The baby does not put on weight. The baby has been like this for the past 2 months. So Marie Madeleine, tell us, what are some of those things that you tell them to encourage them?
Okay, when we receive women in the hospital, women who feel like they are not doing enough for their babies, firstly we first assess what they have been doing.
Okay.
Yes, because maybe what they were doing was the correct thing, but maybe not in the correct way. So we first assess what they have been doing. We assess the latching technique. How have they been feeding the baby? How many times does the baby feed? And from there we can gather enough history to adequately pour out the correct informations. For example, WHO recommends that the baby feeds on demand at least 8 to 12 times a day in 24 hours.
Okay.
A woman who feels like her baby she's not giving enough for her baby, will ask the woman, how do you feed your baby?
Yeah.
Depending on what she tells us, we know how we can advise her. If she is giving the baby only when the baby is crying, we tell her that they cry whenever the baby, just like Ma Franca said, they cry does not only mean the baby is hungry. Sometimes the babies who don't cry,
I bet they're hungry.
Yes, the babies who will just sleep there, and if you don't go and carry them and put them on the breast, they are not going to pull on it. So yes, we know how we can dish out such advice, and then we also educate them on proper latching techniques, because maybe yes, the baby you are putting the baby on the breast, but maybe the baby is not getting the milk that the baby is supposed to be getting. Sometimes in the ward, you enter the ward and you see the baby is breastfeeding and there's breast all over the baby's mouth, because maybe the baby has not latched on very well to receive the milk that the baby is supposed to receive.
Okay.
So we teach them the proper latching techniques. And then for the also working class mothers, they'll say, I try my best, I express, I keep, and so we'll also advise them on how to properly express and store the breast milk. I think all of these combined really boost the women, and they can do better.
Okay, thank you so much. Before we get to mental health expert on emotional changes, Ma Frank, I want to find out from you, is it a problem, is it a myth that I guess most persons say if a child grows up without breast milk or without being latched, like people put it, that's the term, being breastfed, the child is not going to grow properly? Is that a myth, that every child must be breastfed?
It's just because of the advantages of breastfeeding. Yes.
Okay.
It surpasses any other feeding.
Okay.
Yes, because of the advantages that are there. It's easily available. The baby, you don't need it is not time consuming. It has all the food nutrients, and then you see a baby really growing. But the problem with artificial feeding is first the hygienic condition.
Okay.
Yes, even though because at times they do supplementary feeding for mothers that are not able to really their breasts are not adequately producing milk, we recommend complementary feeding.
Okay.
Yes, so that the baby should feed now with that natural breast milk plus the artificial feeding. But most often we are afraid of the hygienic condition because some mothers are careless. That is the myth. That's the most they make behind artificial feeding.
Yes.
It's not that, and even now, at least modern milk, they are trying to make it a way to almost be like
breast milk.
Yes, breast milk.
So the issue is the hygienic condition of it, not that it is a problem.
It's just the same thing like that water issue. Breast milk has about 70 to 80% of water in it.
People
then
do not believe
nutrients, but they think that the babies are not getting water. We tell them that there's water, there's fluids in 80% of milk is that.
Okay.
But they think that they need to take the plain water then just to hydrate them.
Because you know some mothers will always say, I cannot breastfeed my child for 6 months. The child needs water.
Yes.
You always see mothers saying that the child, after you see a mom breastfeeding, thereafter the mom gives the child water. I don't know if is that detrimental to the baby's health.
Is what?
Giving water, yes. Before, after, or maybe in the course of the 6 months.
It's just the hygienic because they came out with this protocol of breastfeeding for 6 months, exclusive breastfeeding. It was because within that period of that age range,
yes,
many children were having what they call gastroenteritis, and when they did the survey, they saw that so many women, the hygienic conditions. Not that water is not good.
Okay.
It's just the aspect of the hygienic condition.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much.
And then the many advantages that comes with breastfeeding. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ma Franca, for that clarification. And to you, Juliet, how can the emotional changes after birth affect breastfeeding?
Okay. Like I said before, breastfeeding comes with a lot of emotional changes.
Okay.
Postpartum anxiety and postpartum depression, they are very common, and then the lot of changes that happen during that time can also affect the mother's breastfeeding habits, especially the changes in sleep patterns, the anxiety that comes with not being able to produce milk immediately after birth.
Okay.
Not producing enough milk for the baby. All of these things affect the mother, and stress can also then reduce the amount of milk produced. So you see, at the end of the day, the child is getting frustrated, and the mother begins to feel like a failure.
Yes.
When the child is trying to suck and milk is not flowing at the amount that the child wants, and then stress and anxiety with depression, they can also change motivation and bonding.
Okay.
The mother begins to isolate herself from the baby, begins to feel shy breastfeeding, avoiding the baby, feeling discouraged, and all of these things can affect the child's well-being as well as the mother's well-being. So it's very important that during this period we avoid situations that are going to put mothers into anxiety, depression, or stressful situations.
Okay.
So that we prevent, or we promote bonding with the baby as much as we can, so that the baby can get enough milk that they need, and also the mother can effectively go through the challenges of the new role of breastfeeding.
Okay. Thank you so much, Juliet. And we also have this common, I don't know if it's a myth, but then mothers always say, they always say they don't want people carrying their children. You see, some mothers, when children are between the age of maybe 0 to 4, 5 months, they avoid carrying. They say the child gets very attached. The child does not want to sleep. So even when you go to visit a mom, she'll tell you, please don't carry the child, just look at the child from the bed. And sometimes I've noticed that children tend to detach from their mothers, and mothers, that also make mothers feel like they are not good enough. Maybe working mothers, let me put it as working mothers, a woman who has to who does an 8 to 5 job, and she's a breastfeeding mom. What are some of the words of encouragement you give? How many, because she does not spend so much time with the child. The child is either daycare or whatever. So how does a working mother cope with her child?
I think people that have done child psychology, they will tell you that the more closer you are with a child, gets acquainted with you, and he knows you much. Like I have my niece in the house. Since the child is always, the mother is always there with her all the time, 24 hours. It's just a reason that I started observing that there are other people around that I can even get attached to.
Yeah.
And so the more you are acquainted with, so that long stay, working hours, you are not without, it's really disturb the bonding of the mother and the child.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Ma Franca. Dear TV friend, if you're just joining us, you're on to Women's Voice on Divine Mercy Radio Television, and we have a topic of discussion displayed on the screen. You could get to us via the number on your screen, SMS or WhatsApp. Let us know what you think about our talking points. Your questions, whatever you have as a worry, will be answered in the course of the program. Okay, let's let's get back to our mental health experts. We already talk of the emotional changes that occurs with a woman, but then I want to look at how partners and family members, I beg your pardon, can support a mother's mental health during her breastfeeding period.
All right. Very important support. When it comes to breastfeeding and maybe having a newborn baby in the house,
okay,
family and most people tend to focus their attention on the baby, and in most cases the mother is neglected. Everybody comes in, how is the baby doing, how is the baby this, how is the baby sucking. Nobody asks, how is the mother, did you sleep, have you eaten, have you this. Nobody actually focuses on the mother, and that can be a big problem for mothers who are breastfeeding. Showing support from partner and family will go to practical support. When the mother is not breastfeeding, let her be resting. She should not be, when she's supposed to be resting, she's doing house chores, she's taking care of older siblings, especially if she has other younger kids in the house. So it's the role of the partner and other family members to take charge of these other activities in the home, ensuring that she also have the nutrition she needs, because most times partners will still neglect and not provide enough for these breastfeeding mothers. So practical support is very important. Providing, making sure they are resting, making sure they are having their self-care. Self-care postpartum is very important. It goes a long way to both the mother and the baby. And coming in these areas actually help breastfeeding mothers go through the breastfeeding journey lighter or easily. So it's very important for partners or family members to identify these practical activities they can do to be able to support breastfeeding mothers. Okay,
thank you very much. Before we continue with Ma Franca, we have this contribution that just came in. Good evening to you all in the studio. My name is Rita. Please, I want to ask, is it possible that a lady's breast does not sag after breastfeeding? I think we've talked about that, but Ma Franca, you may want to throw more emphasis on it. Saggy breast, they say, is it possible that the lady's breast does not sag after breastfeeding?
Not at all.
Okay.
Because as you advance in age, we say one of the factors of that sagging is because as the age comes in, as you breastfeed, it is not possible.
Okay. Rita, I hope you've received the answer. Your question has been clarified for you. Let's move on to the next. Let's look at practical support for mothers. I want to find out from you, Marie Madeleine, what practical steps can mothers take to make breastfeeding easier, especially during the first weeks after delivery?
Okay. For the first week, probably looking at the first 2 weeks, because that's the most challenging part. The first 2 weeks when the woman, especially first time moms, when they're still getting to know what to do, trying to figure it out. So one of the things we encourage them is to actually talk to someone. If they're facing difficulties, you come up. Don't keep it up, don't keep it in, because she said, it can lead to conditions such as postpartum depression if you are not able to really express yourself like that. So for women facing difficulties or having issues, we first encourage them to bring up their difficulties to people that they know that can help them. For example, their midwives, because yes, we are always there to advise them, to encourage them and tell them what to do to clarify issues. We are there to educate and empower them, to teach them the different things that are necessary at the different times. And yes, some women even they'll still do everything right and at the right time, and they'll still have difficulties, they'll still feel overwhelmed and everything. So we're just saying that we are there to encourage them, to continue motivating them, because yes, those problems will always come in. There's going to be a time when the baby is going to cry, your breast is going to pain, you're going to get tired, you're going to get fed up. So yes, we're saying that there are ways to cope with all of these things. You just have to reach out to the right help at the right time.
Okay, thank you so much. Ma Franca, maybe you have something to add to that.
What I should be adding is just that if they know the rules and the good ways, latching techniques, All those things are very important. They are principles of breastfeeding. Good positioning, good attachment, then the adequate time, because for each breastfeeding session it has to be at least 30 minutes.
Okay.
But then you have to assess your baby's feeding tolerance, because not everybody feeds, or not all babies feeds the same.
Yeah.
So they should not say the breastfeeding standard says 30 minutes for each feeding session, and then your baby is that type that doesn't fit up to that. Maybe because you are over producing milk, you'll be forcing the baby to
finish
feed for 30 minutes. You have to assess, like I said, once the baby is satisfied, because they have long sleeping hours, sleeps off the breast.
Okay.
If it's not satisfied, it's going to signal by the time that you want to pull out the breast from, it will grip the breast.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to come back to you, Juliet. You know, like you mentioned of the fact that women really need support during or after birth, during breastfeeding. But what happens to these women who at the same time they are mothers, they are housewives? You know, some women, and you say they need to rest, so maybe some of them are watching us right now and they may really feel overwhelmed because they don't have time to rest. There are so many women who do not have time to rest. If they're not breastfeeding, they are doing laundry. If they're not doing laundry, they are cooking. If they're not cooking, they are fetching water. So they don't also rest, and some children do not sleep at night. So you find a woman being up for like 18 hours a day, and that, how does it play on the woman's mental? Some women say, I'm tired, I'm not going to give birth again, after this second child, this is going to be the last. Most women do that. So how do we really, maybe we talk to, I don't know if we are talking to the partners or the children at home, or family members. Some family members who have their children put to bed and they don't come there for help, what we often call omugo. But then these women need help. That's what we are saying today. Women need help after childbirth. So maybe you have a message for maybe that family member who is neglecting a first-time mom, not even a first-time mom, a woman who has put to bed and has a baby at hand. That woman has to, you know, there is something we used to say, a woman after childbirth, a woman does not go out of the house till after 2 months or so.
3 months.
3 months. But I bet you women give birth to them, the next week you see them in the markets. They don't have anybody to help them, but they have to cook for the home. So what practical advice could we give to these women, or to their caregivers, or to those they live with at home?
Thank you very much. Interesting. I'll begin with the mothers or the women who have babies. It's all about planning, especially during the period of pregnancy and ANC visits. Those are things you discuss with the midwives during ANC sessions, so that the midwives can provide maybe basic advice or social support that can come in if she's having challenges after she puts to bed. And then getting adequate, it still goes back to getting adequate education before receiving a baby. And we all know it comes with a lot of changes, a lot of role play. So get as much education on what you're about to, or the journey you're about to begin, so that you can start putting together resources that might support you during that period of breastfeeding. If family or partner doesn't show up, at least you must have put in some resources. It's either you have a social group, you have the midwives, or whatever social support you can get. Make sure you reach out to those structures and fully explain your challenges, so that they can direct you to the right support. And then to family members or partners who run away, it's very important that we understand that child care is not a single parent's role, or it's not a single individual's role. So everybody comes in, be it as a family, as a community, or as a social group, to take care of that baby together. When they do those things, you know, you're not just raising you're not just breastfeeding a baby, you're trying to raise a healthier or a stronger human being. And tomorrow that human being becomes a community member. So it goes back to all of us. If we don't support breastfeeding mothers, we know that the consequences comes back to us. So family members show up to a new mom or a mom who is breastfeeding with the understanding that these individuals or these mothers, they need our support, because it is a stressful journey, it's challenging, and they cannot go through alone.
Thank you so much. Mothers cannot go through it alone, so they need the support of everyone. So if you're going to visit your aunts, your friend who are just put to bed, try as much as you can to give them a helping hand. Just help them and do anything around the house. It's going to go a long way. You see mothers complaining, I have waist pain, I have headache, my nerves, because they have not been resting. So try as much as you can to help these moms with anything you can at all. And as we mark the World Breastfeeding Week that ends tomorrow, Ma Franca, let me begin with you. What is one message you would want every mother, father, family member, anyone or community member to remember about supporting breastfeeding, or about supporting breastfeeding as a whole for a sustainable start of life for the children?
Just like the theme implies, a breastfeeding mother must be supported by the family members, the community, like what she was explaining, because when she goes through a lot of stress, it is going to disturb the breast milk production. And that child will not adequately grow. That child will not be breastfed enough because it needs optimal breastfeeding.
Thank you so much, Ma Franca. And to you, Marie Madeleine.
One message I want to put out there is that one breastfed child, one healthy child leads to a healthy community. Like the team says, strengthen what works, breastfeeding works. So let us empower breastfeeding mothers. Let us show up for them, be there for them, encourage them whenever we can, show a helping hand whenever we can, because one breastfed child, one healthy child is a healthy community.
Thank you very much, Marie Madeleine. Before we have Juliet bring in her last words for the program, we have this. It's just a comment. Hello, I'm writing from Kikai in the northwest region of Cameroon. Your topic is fascinating. We do not get your name, but thank you for that positive comment there. And to you, Juliet, what is one thing you're going to be telling anybody watching us today about breastfeeding?
I would like to conclude that breastfeeding is very important in the life of every child. So I would like to encourage every mother, if you're physically fit to breastfeed, we encourage you to introduce the child to breast milk as early as possible, and then to partners or family members or community as a whole. It's very important to watch out for warning signs or red flags that might indicate that a mother's mental health is beginning to be affected during breastfeeding. Watch out for persistent sadness, continuous crying, anxiety that does not stop. Watch out for these signs. If they persist for 2 weeks or more, then you should encourage that mother to seek help, or you should support that individual to the help that they need, so that it can easily, early management is very important, so that they don't get into serious or other mental health challenges that might continue to affect her and the baby.
Thank you so much for that contribution there, and thank you all so much for everything you said. But before we go again, Ma Franca, I want to ask one other thing. Maybe there is a fact every family member should remember about breastfeeding, aside of what we've said. Maybe how can a family member, I'm not talking about a particular person, but a family member as a whole, what is one thing they should remember during this period? If you're watching us now and tomorrow you see a breastfeeding mom, what is one thing you should be able to tell them tomorrow about healthy breastfeeding?
The first thing is that support. That mother needs support because of the stress of pregnancy, labor and delivery that she went through. So they should provide a support for that family, for that mother. Because without that support, it's going to disturb the adequate breastfeeding. Because like you said, doing work, doing this is going to, she doesn't need to be stressed. Yes. Like, because in our own context of Amugu, we understand that when we go for Amugu is to sit
relax
and eat and relax. That is not the concept, because I know that with the Igbos, when you are going for Amugu, it is to assist that mother so that she rest off from that stress of pregnancy, labor and delivery. Because just pregnancy on its own is already a stress. Then the fact that she goes through that labor and delivery, which is so traumatic, they need to rest at most 3 3 months before they can even start indulging themselves into serious activities, or they need support, especially for the first 3 months.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma Franca. So if you're watching us today and you've been lacking behind on giving support to breastfeeding moms, remember you have to give them all your support, because they go through a lot of stress throughout their pregnancy and even after delivery. So you want to give them that 3 months support, adequate support. And just before we go, to remind you that myths should never replace accurate health information. No matter what you hear, no matter what you listen to, always ensure that you receive accurate health information. That's why you're encouraged as a pregnant woman to always go to visit the hospital. I think during your pregnancy should be the time you visit the hospital most. Do not assume anything. And mothers deserve encouragement, not criticism. That's another thing we should also note. Before we take leave of you, dear TV friend, thank you all so much to all those who took our time to watch, to all those who took our time to chip in their contributions on our discussion. We thank you so much. And as we join the global community to commemorate the World Breastfeeding Week that ends tomorrow, we hope our discussion this evening has helped you, that father, you that family member, you that expectant mom, you that breastfeeding mom today. Hope you've heard something. You're going to be killing all of those myths, those common myths we have about palm wine, Beaufort, and all of that. You have to give your child water after breastfeeding. Remember, breast milk contains about 80% water, which is fluid, so you want to be careful what you give your child. Also watch on the hygienic conditions around the baby. You want to grow healthy babies. Thank you so much, Ma Franca, for joining us this evening to add your voice to the celebration we are having on World Breastfeeding Week.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And to you, Juliet, thank you also for putting in your efforts and your voice as well on mental health. You're very strong on that. Growing up as a woman, yes, breastfeeding moms have a very good self-confidence and self-esteem to grow a healthy baby. Thank you so much. And to you, my dearest namesake, Nganke Marie Madeleine, thank you for coming on board and also sharing your knowledge on breastfeeding and how breastfeeding mothers should take care of themselves. We will definitely see you on another edition.
Definitely.
Okay, and dear viewers, that has been it on our discussion today on World Breastfeeding Week. We are also joining the world over to commemorate this week, and this program should serve as an encouragement to every woman out there. It's creating awareness to you, okay, to just kill those myths that you receive and prioritize health information for the growth of your children, and also get as much support as you need. Families, communities, try as much as you can to encourage women during this period of breastfeeding. Thank you so much. Thanks to every other person who tries as much as they can out there to support breastfeeding mothers. You go a long way to raise a healthy baby. I've been Magdalene Gerfang Wondo, urging you to stay tuned to Divine Mercy Radio Television. More interesting programs come your way. Keep the rendezvous next week Thursday for another interesting edition. Have a wonderful evening.